Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is December the 22nd, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Monday, happy Garfield Day. Hopefully you got that lasagna, and all the things that comes with it. As for me, I would say I think I missed my slice today. I don't know. It's hard for me to say that today was a good day. I think I want to say that the structure of it, from the bird's eye, it was good. But I just had some trials and I had some tribulations and I got a lot on my mind. But yeah, we'll get into it. So I actually get a good night's sleep last night for a change. I roll the dice. I go to bed at like 10:30 and I stay down the entire night. So thank goodness for that because I needed it. Got up like on time. And then we got up, we got to work. So that was good. Now, I started off the day with a little bit of an issue because I noticed that I was like paying, I was paying a bit more on my insurance. And I was like, that sucks. That's not good. I need to maybe inquire about that. I shouldn't just shrug that off. So I'm going through the whole hassle. I wind up having to go through the virtual assistant and then talk to a person via a chat, like text box kind of thing, which was kind of annoying. Love new age technology. But they use the excuse of you got a ticket earlier in the year and that's finally coming into effect. And I'm like, okay, yeah. But then I've also heard too, just kind of listening around, on my odd lot shit, econ and whatnot, that a lot of insurance rates for people are going up in general. And I just thought it was going to be healthcare stuff, but it's all over. So I was like, okay, great. I love that. So maybe it might be a little bit of that. Who knows? Maybe I'm completely off base with that speculation. Anyway, I, at least knew that. I at least, now knew it was up. I'm like, okay. Fine. Awesome. Love that for me. And we keep it moving throughout the rest of the day. It's been a generally good day. Yes, we're still on peak, but peak's pretty much over. So it's all right, they're still moving in some skids when they can, from the rafters, from the outer worlds of the warehouse. But overall, the workflow's manageable. We're still filling up the crusher. It just is what it is. So towards the end of the day, I'm sitting in maintenance. And maintenance gets a call, and the guy tells me, he goes, hey, supervisor upstairs is calling you. They want you to go, he wants to go up and talk to you. Or he wants you to come and talk to him. And I'm like, what? Okay. Which is, it never happened. And I was like, okay. So I know this is going to be interesting. And as sure as shit, it was. So I sit down with them, and they're telling me, hey, come next year, I'm going to be under him now. He is essentially taking control of the position in terms of I'm going to be reporting to him now. He is my supervisor. And I was like, okay, there was nothing I could do. I knew I couldn't fight it. I'm not going to be no, veto, cancel. I just knew I had to go along with it. And then, of course, he's laying down the law now. He's telling me what things are going to be. And he's like, yeah, I've seen you in maintenance just hanging out in there. We're going to get you upstairs when it's, when you don't have anything to do. And we're going to give you we're going to make you work the door or cardboard or whatever. And I'm like, okay, the only reason I've been sitting there is because the job's done and I have nothing to do. No one put me on anything else. And he goes, yeah, I get it. It's not all your fault. And I'm just like, okay, man. And, he's like, oh, welcome to the team. He reaches out, and I have to shake his fucking hand. I'm like, I always fucking hate, I've never really been in a situation where you actually have to shake hands with a person that you actively don't like. It's just what are we doing here, dude? Okay. And he says it one more time, welcome to the team. I'm like, yeah. And I just walk away at that point because, conversation's fucking over. So, and also another thing he dropped on me too, at the top of the conversation, is he goes, yeah, this is happening. And I look surprised, or I guess I look like I didn't know this, because I didn't. And he goes, your supervisor didn't tell you? And I go, no. And I flash back mentally to earlier in the day. I see this motherfucker walking out with his little Christmas gifts, and I know he's probably going on vacation. Probably not going to see this guy for either the rest of the week, because we got Christmas and stuff coming up, or maybe even the whole rest of the year. And I'm like, that spineless motherfucker couldn't even sit me down one last time to tell me that shit. Family. I love that shit. I love family values, bro. It's one of those things where I'm going to try to just do my best to take this shit in stride. But to me, the writing is very much on the wall here. Like, you wanted to have me in this situation again where you have control over it, so that if I say anything counter to what you want, you're going to give me a write-up. You're going to fucking make my life annoying. And not to mention, you're going to like try to slight me on any given thing. I've been here for like fucking 11 years now. So I'm used to the way I work. I'm used to the way I do things and how I operate. It hasn't been a problem up until now. And I get the feeling some things are probably going to be a bit problematic. This is where, my whole idea and thoughts on like, quote unquote, my little soft tenure are kind of, be very eggshell-esque. And I know that. So I know that I'm going to have to adapt. It's not my first time. Long time listeners know. I had to really like go back in my own mental crates here to really remind myself. But this is not my first rodeo upstairs with the topsiders. I used to be one, God damn it. I used to be with these people, working with them side by side, elbow to fucking elbow. But the times changed. And like, it really sucks that a couple of these motherfuckers have turned so sour on me. And like, they have this weird warped idea of how I work or don't work, whatever. I'm always on my phone, blah, 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 blah. And now I'm going to be once again, face to face with these motherfuckers again. I don't like that. I don't want to do that, but that is what it's going to be, because I know that it's going to get slow again for a while. And then even when it's not slow, when the crusher fills up, I'm going to have to go upstairs, which once again, that's fine. There are definitely little things that I know I'm just not going to like about this. And I just get the feeling too that we're not done in terms of the beef. You feel me? That he's going to be coming for me and trying to get me as jammed up as possible, or he's not going to hesitate to do so. So yeah, that fucking sucks. But we move. It's my job. I will say, any, homies listening, who got any lines, a job or something like that, hey, I am going to be as receptive as I'll ever be. I'll say that much. But yeah, that fucked me up a little bit. That had me in my bag for the rest of the fucking day. So I definitely apologize if the episode's a bit compromised for that. I just got to do some thinking, some pondering of the orb. But I think things are going to be okay. I think things are going to be fine. It's just this probably will be my worst supervisor, like, period. Like, it's annoying too, because I remember coming back to this department. I remember being in this department and not hating it. I remember like I equated this department to like a gym class, and it was overall fine. Even when I had like harder leads or whatever, like, but I've always had like a supervisor that I was cool with. So this is one of those situations where it's like, no, we are not cool. We are not kosher. So I'll keep you posted on that shit, y'all. So peak is about to be over. But, god damn, we just getting started, huh? So yeah, I took that, had that energy, but we went to the gym, and it was a busy day at the gym. I was able to get on the Smith machine. That was dope. There was just one too many people, I felt like, over at the free weights. I couldn't get the kind of incline bench that I wanted until it was later in the day. So I was just like, nah, it's okay. I'll just do some filler work. I hadn't done filler work like all weekend, so it was nice to really crank that out. A couple other machines I don't normally do, like the old hack squat and yada. Core work was solid. And then we did some cardio. We did a full hour of cardio. And overall things are good. Things were solid there. I will say though, random weight check-in, fitness, whatever. It's been annoying. I feel like I've gained weight. Like I'm sitting at around 200 pounds and I just am staying there. I can generally kind of hack down the weight back to like a 195, but not like 193 like I was doing earlier in the year. And I'm not going to lie, maybe it's just because of the holidays, maybe it's because of the mental. It's stressing me out. It's upsetting me. And I know it shouldn't. Like, And I know people could say, "Oh, well, you're gaining some muscle, this and that, or the third," and it's like, I don't know, man. Are we just saying these things to try to make me feel better? Like, I don't know, So that's been a bit of a bummer as we go into Christmas, the actual day, which I know I'm going to eat. I'm gonna be hamming out. And, and who knows, maybe there's a New Year's where I eat snacks. But regardless, it just feels weird because I felt like last year, even with the holiday meals and stuff, I was still trending better than I am now weight wise. So that's been getting to me a little bit. But I know that, consistency is the key. I just got to keep showing up, keep doing things. And I know that the weight is just a number. I obsess over it too much. um but I also know it's just a part of my process, so it's hard to like separate it sometimes, you know what I mean? But yeah, after the gym we got home and did our stretches, had a little snack, which I actually had like to force a snack because like normally I would be totally hungry right now. The day went as it should have, but I think just because of the stress, like I've noticed, especially lately, I just like don't want to eat. I hate that about myself. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's so unhealthy and I know it, but like I also just like, I don't know. It's a problem. But yeah, that's been the day. I will say though, good news. I wanna definitely stress this. It made my day. A homie hit me up and they said them and their partner were listening to the episode together while they were on their vacation. And like, I'm tearing up, like just thinking about that because that really, it means a lot. It means a lot that people, y'all listen, that I'm not just talking to the void because don't get me wrong, I would do that. I've done that. I will talk to the goose egg. It's all good. But it does mean something to know that I'm not in this shit alone. And, not to be parasocial, you're not in this shit alone, So just know Oscar the Grouch, your homie, your boy got you, okay? All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. Oh, boy. Oh man, as much as I love doing this, I know I can't quit my day job. But boy, howdy do I wish. Okay. From CNN. Deadly clashes erupt between Syrian army and Kurdish-led SDF amid integration talks. At least 3 people were killed and 31 injured after clashes broke out between Syrian army troops and the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, or the SDF, excuse me, in the Syrian city of Aleppo on Monday, as high-level talks continued over plans to integrate the SDF into Syria's state institutions. The fighting comes less than 8 days before a deadline in a March 10th agreement, under which Damascus and SDF committed to a nationwide ceasefire and the integration of civil and military institutions in northeastern Syria into the state framework. The U.S.-backed SDF, which was not part of the rebel alliance that overthrew Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad, is presently the most powerful non-governmental force in the country and holds strategic territories, primarily in the northeast. The Damascus-run Aleppo Health Directorate said at least 2 civilians were killed and 8 others injured in SDF shelling of neighborhoods in Aleppo. Now, this is something that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. It's part of the reason why I want to read all of this article. Is like, I only know so much about this fucking region and all the shit that's going on in it in terms of like the conflicts, all the historical context. It's a fucking lot. So when I hear that like it's US backed SDF, I'm always thinking like, why don't we like rein that in? Especially if things are better now between our relations are at the best they've ever been, post the overthrowing of Bashar al-Assad. And I try to look into it a little bit. It just seems like we had enough to make them a kind of proxy force and help them, and we work with them, but we can't really control them. Now maybe I'm totally off base here. Maybe I'm not getting the fucking shit right. I would love to know more. A lot of this too, please come into my DMs, chime in, give me some enlightenment if you got it. I would love that on any of these stories, not just this shit. You know what I mean? I am definitely happy and ready and able to say, hey, I am wrong, and now I learned this or I learned that. Please, thank you. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. For Farhad Shami, head of SDF media, told CNN that at least one civilian was killed and 23 people were injured, including 6 security members, after what he described as mortar and heavy weapon attacks by factions affiliated with the Damascus government on SDF-held neighborhoods in the city. In statements, the SDF and the Syrian Defense Ministry accused each other of starting the clashes. The defense... Oh, boy. Ooh, all the functions. The Defense Ministry said its forces are responding to SDF fire positions that are targeting residents, homes, and movements, as well as army and security deployment points in government-held areas in the city of Aleppo. Syria's defense ministry said the SDF said in later statements that they have halted attacks on each other. The SDF said the move came in response to ongoing de-escalation contacts. Syrian Foreign Minister Assad Hassan al-Shabani said Monday that the SDF has not shown sufficient seriousness in implementing the March 10th agreement, according to the state-run Syrian Arab News Agency, or SANA. He said Damascus recently presented a proposal to advance the process and was reviewing the SDF's response. The violence coincided with a visit to Damascus by Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, who said Turkey supports the talks and considers them essential for Syria's stability. Speaking at a joint news conference, Fidan said the integration of the SDF into Syria's administration must occur through dialogue and reconciliation. He warned that alternative paths would undermine Syria's security, Sanaa reported. Fidan added that the SDF has shown little intention to make progress. Turkey has long opposed the SDF, which the U.S. trained, equipped, and helped fight the Islamic State group. Turkey views SDF as linked to the Kurdish Workers' Party, or the PKK, which Ankara has designated as a terrorist organization, which is another thing that links all of this and once again makes it more complicated. But once again, that's another ally to America. So this is where I'm just so confused. Were we really that eager to be yeah, we gotta fucking deal with IS, so this is what we do, and then we did this and we made this, and then it's kind of oh, we can't control that. We kind of can't handle that. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be the first time, right? I don't know. We've done that everywhere across the world. But I would just love to learn more. So yeah, even if you don't know, if you know, I don't know, you got links, sources, I would love to just sit down and watch a vid or learn more, read more, whatever. I will try to make the time. God damn. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. From the Associated Press. Car bomb kills Russian general in Moscow. A car bomb killed a Russian general on Monday, the third such killing of a senior military officer in just over a year. Investigators said Ukraine may be behind the attack. Lieutenant General Fanil Serovov, head of the Operational Training Directorate of the Russian Armed Forces General Staff, died from his injuries, said Svetlana Petrenko, the spokesperson for the Russia's Investigative Committee, the nation's top criminal investigation agency. He was 56. Investigators are pursuing numerous lines of inquiry regarding the murder. One of these is that the crime was orchestrated by Ukrainian intelligence services, Petrenko said. Since Moscow sent troops into Ukraine nearly 4 years ago, Russian authorities have blamed Kyiv for several assassinations of military officers and public figures in Russia. Ukraine has claimed responsibility for some of them. It has not yet commented on Monday's death. Let's see here. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that President Vladimir Putin had been immediately informed about the killing of Saravov, or Serov, whatever, who fought in Chechnya, had taken part in Moscow's military camp and had taken part in Moscow's military campaign in Syria. So you're getting 2 mentions today. They talk about a little bit of recap on the other assassinations. We've covered them, so I don't really feel like doing the highlight recap there. A little bit more reading than we have time for. But by all means, come back to this article if you would like to. But yeah, another one. Another one bites the dust. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you feel about these assassinations, especially at this point. I don't know if they're moving the needle. I guess they're showing that, yeah, we're still in the game. We're still doing stuff. But I mean, these peace talks seem to just, we're talking about peace talks, not even doing a peace talk. I don't know. The conflict seems very murky at this point. I mean, we'll see. I'm trying to keep you posted. But anyway, let's move on. This was a bit of a breaking story that I wanted to cover. I literally popped up before I was like about to press play, and I was like, you know what? Let's just put the shrimp on the Barbie. I'm gonna take a little swig of water because I need it. I'm parched. I'm drinking like higher IPA drinks because I'm stressed. No, I don't know. It's the season, and that does not help your thirst. All right. All right. Another one from the Associated Press. At least 5 killed after Mexican Navy plane on medical mission crashes in Texas. A small Mexican Navy plane transporting a young medical patient and 7 others crashed Monday near Galveston, killing at least 5 people and setting off a search in the waters of the Texas coast, officials said. 4 of the people aboard were Navy officers and 4 were civilians, including a child, Mexico's Navy said in a statement to the Associated Press. It was not immediately clear which of them were killed in the crash. 2 of the people aboard were members from the Michow and Mao Foundation, which is a nonprofit that provides aid to Mexican children who have suffered severe burns. U.S. Coast Guard Petty Officer Luke Baker confirmed that 5 people have been killed in the crash. The cause of the crash is under investigation. The crash took place Monday afternoon near the base of a causeway near Galveston, along the Texas coast about 50 miles or 80.5 kilometers southeast of Houston. Mexico's Navy said in a statement that the plane was helping with a medical mission and had an accident. It promised to investigate the cause of the crash. We're going to go ahead and fast forward to the end here. It is not immediately clear if the weather was a factor. However, the area has been experiencing fogging conditions over the past few days. According to Cameron Batiste, a National Weather Service meteorologist. He said that at about 2:30 p.m. Monday, a fog came in that had about a half-mile visibility. The fogging conditions are expected to persist through Tuesday morning. So, obviously, we don't know in terms of what caused, the crash. Obviously, it's very sad, very unfortunate. Condolences to the families, everyone involved. It sucks if you're trying to be doing something so valiant and then, this happens. I mean, obviously, even if you're not, you're just, just transporting yourself from to and fro. It's still sad to, see and have to cover a story like this, So, yeah. But, definitely worth telling, definitely worth covering. So, moving on, though, to a story coming out of CBS. This feels like the first big CBS Barry Weiss blow up. And y'all know I had to get into it. I just had to all right, we got to chop it up. We got to talk about this. From NPR. CBS News chief Barry Weiss pulls 60-minute story, sparking outcry. Just a day and a half before it was set to be broadcast, new CBS News editor-in-chief Barry Weiss pulled a planned 60 minutes investigative segment centering on allegations of abuses at an El Salvador detention center where the Trump administration sent hundreds of Venezuelan migrants last March. Weiss told colleagues this weekend the piece, planned for Sunday night's show, could not run without an on-the-record comment from an administration official. She pushed for 60 minutes to interview Stephen Miller, senior advisor to President Trump, or someone of his stature. That's according to two people with knowledge of events at the network who spoke on the condition of anonymity, citing job security. The correspondent on the story, Sharon Alfonsi, condemned the decision in an email to 60 Minutes colleagues on Sunday evening, saying she believed it was not an editorial decision, it is a political one. The email was obtained by NPR and other news organizations. Also, I agree with this. Like, this was not over editorial merit or quality, like, oh, you can't run the story without a comment. Like, you guys asked for comment and they declined to comment. You're allowed to run it. And essentially in this moment, she was saying, no, it's not enough. The story isn't actually, vetted or valid enough. Don't run it. She killed it. She shelved it. I think though the running line is like, no, we just delayed it up until like we got that or something to that effect. Okay. A press release sent out Friday morning from CBS News publicity team had promoted the story, promising a look inside CCOT, one of El Salvador's harshest prisons. The network ran a video promotion, which has since been taken down on the air and on social media. The announcement cited the brutal and torturous conditions some recently released deportees said they endured there. The release has since been revised. The story has undergone repeated formal reviews by senior producers and news executives, as well as people from the legal and standards division, according to the two people at CBS echoing Alfonsi's account. So once again, we've been through the whole fucking process that you go through on a fucking piece before you air it. Everything's good to fucking go. But essentially, she's fucking digging her heels in on this. No, we're not doing it. We're not running it. Alfonsi wrote that she and her colleagues on the story had sought comments and interviews from the Department of Homeland Security, the White House, and State Department. Government silence is a statement, not a veto, Alfonsi wrote in the email. If the administration's refusal to participate becomes a valid reason to spike a story, we have effectively handed them a kill switch for any reporting they find inconvenient. Alfonsi did not respond to an emailed request for comment. Once again, I am in full agreement with Alfonsi. If you allow this fucking shit to just happen, then they know that they can kind of just say, well, we don't even have to, say anything. And then you know better, and you won't. And it's like, that's not how journalism should fucking work. Let's see. Weiss addressed the criticism in a staff meeting Monday morning, saying she held the story because it wasn't ready. While the story presented powerful testimony of torture at CCOT, it did not advance the ball, Weiss said, according to a transcript of her remarks. This is 60 Minutes. We need to be able to get the principles on the record and on camera. The story, she said, did not advance the ball beyond the other news outlets had already reported. To run a story on this subject 2 months later, we need to do more, she said. We need to be able to get the principles on the record and on camera. A CBS spokesperson declined comment, but noted that the revised programming announcement said the story would air at a later date. As a private citizen, Donald Trump sued CBS last year over the editing of 60 Minutes interview with his opponent in the presidential election's Democratic nominee, Kamala Harris. Earlier this year, the network's news chief and top executive at 60 Minutes resigned as the network explored settlement talks with Trump's legal team. Paramount's previous owners paid Trump $16 million to settle the case, although legal observers almost unanimously agreed he had little chance of prevailing in court. The settlement did not include an apology or admission of wrongdoing. The settlement helped controlling owner Sherry Redstone smooth the sale to the Ellison family through a federal antitrust review. Weiss's arrival at the network this year under the new ownership of Paramount chief David Ellison has drawn sharp scrutiny. Weiss created the online publication The Free Press, a compendium of views and news reporting, on the premise that much of the mainstream media is too reflexively liberal. While the site publishes some stories that are critical of Trump, she also has indicated she believes much news coverage is distorted in opposition to him. And some of these guys that they have who claim to be moderates or, to the right or whatever, come out with some of the craziest, fucking op-eds or whatever the fuck they're writing as fucking truth and And fucking, it's like, I don't know, man. I just know that I've listened to some of it via Chapo Trap House, and it's some of the most unhinged fucking shit. So yeah, I'm not rocking with the free press. I highly doubt you would ever, hear me quoting or sourcing that shit at all, ever. But yeah, I mean, she used that as a launch board to get to CBS. It's kind of fucking crazy. I just would have never had that on my fucking bingo card. But that's how the cookie crumbled. She played her positions to get where she's at. So I mean, you can't be mad at that. She played the game very well to get here, and she is what it looks like, playing her position pretty well. But let me continue with the article. Ellison's father, Oracle founder Larry Ellison, is one of the world's richest people. The elder Ellison is also a financial supporter and advisor to the president. Over the summer, David Ellison made promises to the nation's top broadcast regulator that the network would become more hospitable to conservatives as he won federal approval to take over CBS's parent company, Paramount Global, this summer. Weiss says news organizations such as CBS can earn back the trust of the public by exploring debate between center-right and center-left rather than polarized extremes. Like essentially saying, oh, you guys got to cut off all that far left stuff. And yeah, sure. Like that far extremist, right stuff that it gets talked about. Yeah, you shouldn't do that either. We should really all be meeting in the middle. That's where we all are. And that really sounds nice and sweet. But I think you've kind of heard how my POV feels about being a centrist, being a moderate. It is being the most lukewarm fuck more times than not. Or you are weaponizing this perspective, and essentially you're doing your own form of populism to try to get you guys to do what? Just wade in the water and then get controlled by some motherfuckers to do what else? Nothing for you. Nothing good for you. And then what? You wade into the water until you get another motherfucking what? Donald Trump. So I'm just not a fan of this tactic. Whether you are being completely genuine or fucking not, I'm just not for it, honestly. It sounds great, and I used to be of the same way about it. And, I know it can sound like, hey, you're one way today, you're another way tomorrow. But it's like, what can I say? I'm just trying to call balls and strikes over here, man. I don't know, man. I'm just a dude. Let's see here. Even so, Trump has kept the Ellisons guessing as they also seek federal approval and his blessing to take over CNN's corporate parent, Warner Brothers Discovery. He blasted the new Paramount owners, though not by name, over a recent episode of 60 Minutes, which gave airtime to a former ally turned critic, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. They are no better than the old ownership, who just paid me millions of dollars for fake reporting about your favorite president, me, Trump posted this month on Truth Social. Since they bought it, 60 Minutes has actually gotten worse. Weiss only made her decision known by early Saturday morning, just a day and a half before the broadcast of the fabled news magazine, the most storied franchise in television news. I don't know why I said that backwards. Its stories are usually highly produced and can take weeks or months to deliver to air. CBS announced its decision late Sunday afternoon, 2 hours before the broadcast. In an earlier review of the CCOT report, Weiss had objected to the men being called Venezuelan migrants rather than illegal immigrants, a term favored by the Trump administration. Many of those sent to the Salvadoran prison were not in this country illegally and had applied for asylum, awaiting a decision for their applications. So this is not them being bleeding hearts when they said it, because they used the term Venezuelan migrants earlier. They're doing it by the fucking definition, which, once again, the editor-in-chief at CBS is kind of trying to fucking play with. Why? Well, I mean, you can fill in the blanks as to fucking why. Weiss joined CBS News in October when Ellison's Skydance Media acquired the Free Press. Its coverage has been blended into CBS News website, which is so fucking crazy. And we talked about this. She made so much money off this fucking deal, more money than she ever really needed for this kind of fucking shit. And not to mention she was already fine. But when you just take this kind of position, this is a legacy fucking position you're getting. And once again, it seems like she's doing it well. There's yada at the end. I'm good with this. I said what I needed to say. Anyway, we're gonna move along because I'm running out of voice. Let's go ahead and take our last break, and then we gotta talk about some bad news for bourbon enjoyers. I mean, of this variety, I guess. But, anyway, let's take our last break and we'll close it out. So let's go ahead and take a swig. Chug them if you got them. They're saying there's supposed to be a warmer Christmas, that we're going to be, I heard initially the 60s. I looked and I saw 55. I don't know. But, 5 degrees, that's a big difference in my opinion. Even so, I'll still take it over a white Christmas. I'm good on that. It's been cold, though. It's been a cold week. I was freezing at work. I had to, turn the little heater on, a couple times. But, but hey, it could be worse. It could be worse. I will say that. I'm dreaming of a white. No, I'm not. Ooh. Oh boy. All right. Randomly from Men's Journal. Also Yahoo Finance. I feel. Why is Men's Journal talking about this? I get men drink Jim Beam. Iconic American bourbon brand is shuttering its trademark distillery in 2026. Press F to pay respects. Okay. Jim Beam is putting its trademark distillery on ice. The iconic American bourbon brand announced it will stop producing whiskey at its facility in Claremont, Kentucky on January 1st. The pause will last for the entirety of 2026. We are always assessing production levels to best meet consumer demand and recently met with our team to discuss our volumes for 2026. The company said in a statement, per the Lexington Herald Leader, we have shared with our teams that while we continue to distill at our Freddie Booker No craft distillery in Claremont and at our larger Booker No distillery in Boston, we plan to pause distillation at our main distillery on James B. Beam campus for 2026 while we take the opportunity to invest in site enhancements. The visitor center for those who pass through the famed Kentucky Bourbon Trail. Okay. Yeah, cool. It's been a rough year for Kentucky's $9 billion whiskey industry. Tariffs and boycotts are hitting business hard. Canada hasn't bought any American manufactured spirits since March in response to President Donald Trump's ongoing tariff regime. Overall, U.S. whiskey sales to Canada are down 60%. As a result, the bourbon industry has halted production by more than 55 million proof gallons, representing a 28% downshift. Though the Jim Beam's main distillery is shuttering operations for next year, layoffs haven't been announced, at least not yet. Jim Beam employs nearly 1,500 people in Kentucky. Other whiskey companies, such as Jack Daniels, have laid off employees as they pause production too. So yeah, I mean, it seems like this is one of the companies that are caught in the wake of this whole fucking tariff shit. I feel like this is not something I have an article to pull. I was just listening to the BBC, I want to say like a few days ago, maybe sometime last week. And they were talking about how wine sales are down. Like they're getting hit either by just weather factors and or tariff hikes, just various reasons all kind of coming together and being like, hey, it's not worth it for us to produce this crop. We literally have to let it die on the vine. And now you have production when it comes to spirits, when it comes to whiskey, where it's like, yeah, we have to like not bottle anymore because we can't. Like it's not going to be worth it. We're going to lose money doing so. So, I mean, that doesn't bode well for the economy, So, I mean, hey, I'm sure though, Trump is going to fix it. Okay. This is all crooked Joe Biden's fault. And yeah, Trump said he was going to get it done. Clickety, lickety split, quick as you like, but no, it's okay. I'm sure next year, he's going to get it. It's going to get done. Right. Of course, it's going to be all fine. It's all going to come back around. We're going to be able to afford groceries soon, right? Oh, you can go bet on it on fucking Poly Market or I don't know. That's it. That's all I got. That's the episode for today. If you would like to become a newsie, not a newsie, you can't. There's no Uzis with the newsies. No, we don't have those. That would be crazy. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Should be available. If not, hit me up. Maybe I can find a way to get on there. Let's see. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. 5 stars on Spotify, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, wherever it is available. Give me all of those stars, please, and thanks. But really, like I said up top, thanks so much for just hanging out with me. Letting me complain and, sniffle and moan about my precious little life. That is a good life. And crazy enough, I was actually thinking about this at the top of my day. Yet again, I've never had a nightmare about this job. All my old jobs that I've worked, I had at least one nightmare. Like, I hate working this job so much, it haunted me. This job still doesn't do that. And knock on wood, it hasn't yet. 11 years in, but you have your twists and you have your turns. And I appreciate you for being with me for so much of it, day in, day out, And this little project, this little weird little experiment that we're doing, either from your little speaker, your little headphones, my little microphone. So I really can't say thank you enough for just you hanging out with me. Thanks. Let me hang out with you. Thank you. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.